Welcome to the latest episode of the 15-Minute Drill Podcast for Saturday, October 15th, 2016. I'm your host, Walter Johnson, and a lot of games of interest to get to. So let's get started, and I'll start with the big game in GHSA Region 16A up in Warner Robins, Georgia, and Lee County Trojans, after knocking off former number one Houston County in convincing fashion, 55-29, became the number one ranked team for the first time in school history, first time ever, and they traveled up to the Mid-State to take on the Eagles from Northside High School of Warner Robins, and in the end, it was Northside of Warner Robins cruising to a 26-7 win. And after a scoreless first quarter, and make that north side of Warner Robins got on the scoreboard first and led 6-0. And then it was 13-0 at halftime. And in the second half, the north side added another touchdown to make it 20-0. And then Lee County's only score came during the second half. And north side of Warner Robins added another touchdown with less than 4 minutes to play in the game. And the Eagles tried to go for two, but wasn't successful. But again, it really didn't matter. And north side of Warner Robins hands Lee County its first loss. Trojans fall 26-7. Lee County is now 6-1 overall, and fall to 1-1 in GHSA Region 16A, and the only other Region 16A contest, and the Coffee jumped out to a big lead over Houston County, and only to hold off a late rally from the Bears to win 42-35. And who would have thunk it at the time? Who would have thought Ballas and Coffee would both be 1-0 in GHSA Region 16A play after games played on the week of Friday, October 14th, 2016. And then Northside, Warner Robins, and Lee County at 1-1, and Houston County, a dramatic turn in fortunes for the Bears, going from the number one ranked team in all of GHSA Class 6A to last place at 0-2 in all of GHSA Region 16A. And I think it's very easy to see why GHSA Region 16A is the so-called Region of Doom. And we move right along, and all four of the public school teams in Dougherty County in the Albany area lost on this past Friday night, just a couple of hours ago roughly. And the Columbus Blue Devils traveled all the way down to Albany in Humil Stadium, pulled off the upset with the Westover Patriots. And the Patriots came in winning 2 in a row, knocking off Carver of Columbus and Hardaway, and they're looking for their third straight win over Columbus High. But the Blue Devils pulled off the huge upset, 40-29. Very, very costly loss for Westover, dropping to 2-2. In Region 14A. Not only that, they fall into a six-way tie for second place in Region 16A. Doesn't happen very often. And America Sumter defeated Shaw 22-7. And while the Cairo syrup makers had to hold on to defeat Carver of Columbus 35-28, and the syrup makers escaped with a victory at home down in Cairo, Georgia. And things weren't that much better for the other three schools within the Dougherty County school system. And the Monroe Tornadoes losing streak reached 3 in a row after they fell to the Crisp County Cougars 20-14, and the Tornadoes lost a heartbreaker being knocked off by the Dougherty Trojans 20-14. And tonight in Cordele, Georgia, the Crystal County Cougars ran their record to 7-0 with a 28-14 victory. And Monroe has next week off before playing the first of their final two games at Hugh Mills Stadium against Worth County. And the Rams had the week off. And GHSA Region 1 AAA, Doherty loses to Cook 29-20. And Hornets bounce back with a big win after the loss to Worth County last week at home. And Doherty defeated Monroe last week, but came up empty against Cook this week. And the Brooks County Trojans kept Albany High winless with a 42-0 rout down in Quitman, Georgia. Ran between Valdosta and Thomasville. And speaking of the Thomasville area, the Thomas County Central Yellow Jackets found themselves on the wrong end of a stunning upset loss. And the Veterans Warhawks out of Kathleen, Georgia, right in the middle of Houston County, and right in between Kathleen, an unincorporated community located right in between Warner Robins, Perry, and Fort Valley, and Warner Robins, Perry, and Houston County, and Fort Valley and Peach County. Anyways, and Veterans pulls off the upset over Thomas County Central, 33-28. Thomas County Central with a loss drops to 5-3 overall, and 1-1 in GHSA Region 1 5A, with a big game at home against Bainbridge next week. And Bainbridge just 2-4 overall, but 1-1 in 1 5A action. And a quick wrap up of the GHSA Region 1 Single A, and a big game as far as playoff implications in Class Single A in the public school division. And Mitchell County outlasted Seminole County 42-28, the final score in Camilla on this Friday night, October 14th. And Pelham goes 6-1 overall, and more importantly, to go to 5-1. And Mitchell County goes to 6-1 overall and 5-1 in GHSA Region 1 Single A. And the same record as Pelham and the Hornets. And the Randolph Clay Red Devils, their first loss of the season, as they go on the road into Cuthbert, Georgia, and pull off the upset over Randolph Clay, 50-38 final score in a real slugfest. So that means Mitchell County, Pelham, and Randolph Clay are now in a three-way tie for first place in GHSA Region 1 Single A. And so that's a really big deal. I mean, you got three teams not only tied for first place in GHSA Region 1 Single A, and they could be fighting for a very, very high seeding in the Class Single A public school playoffs, which will span from 16 to 24 teams in 2016. And that's a big deal there. And moving right along to some other scores from other games. In GHSA Region 1 7A action open tonight down in Moultrie. The Colquitt County Packers have now won 4 in a row after losing 4 in a row. And the Packers crushed the Camden County Wildcats on the coast of Georgia. From the coast of Georgia, in Kingsland, Georgia to be exact. Final score, Colquitt County 56, Camden County 10. It's been an amazing ride. It's been an up and down season for Colquitt County so far. And and the downside, of course, is Packers losing their first 4 games of the season. But now the Pack, led by head coach Rush Popes, is on the up, and the Packers are experiencing the upside now, going to 4-4 overall. right at 500. But more importantly, they go to 1-0 in GHSA Region 17A with just 2 region games remaining. And keep in mind, keep in mind there are only 4 teams in GHSA Region 17A, and the only league of its kind within the GHSA. And next up for the Colby County Packers, a short trip up US Highway 319, and then briefly along Interstate 75 to Tifton to take on the Tift County Blue Devils. And the Blue Devils got GHSA Region 17A action off to a rough start as the Lowndes Vikings won their 7th straight game over Tift County 45-24 the final score, and the Vikings run their record to 7-1 overall and 1-0 in GHSA Region 17A. And who would have thought that both Lowndes and Colquitt tied for the region lead at 1-0. Camden and Tift sending 0-1 in the region. And moving on to Region 1AA, a couple of games there. I already mentioned that Brooks County rolled to a 42-0 rout. 42-0 rout over Albany High. And the Fitzgerald Purple Hurricanes also pitched a big-time shutout over Berrien, 42-0. And the Purple Hurricanes blow away Berrien 42-0. And we can look at in Thomasville, trounced Early County 44-0. Similar scores. And so Brooks County, Fitzgerald, and Thomasville all tied up for first place in GHSA Region 1AA at 2-0 with the victory. And Brooks and Fitzgerald 6-1 overall. And Thomasville back at 500 at 3-3 overall, and they're also 2-0 in GHSA Region 1AA. And Berrien, after being blown out by Fitzgerald on the 3-4 overall, 1-2 in the region. And Early County is winless, 0-7-1 overall, 0-3 in the region. Albany High 1-7-0-2. And some other final scores to pass along in these final 2 minutes of this program or podcast, if you will. And big game in GISA Region 3AAA, bound for at least a share of first place. Bound for first place, period, between Valwood and Deerfield Windsor. And the winner is the Valwood Valiants. And the winners are the Valwood Valiants of Valdosta, as they defeated the Deerfield Windsor Knights from Albany 28-14. And Deerfield suffering a tough loss on the road. And the Knights fall to 6-3 overall. And 2-1 in GISA Region 3 AAA with 1 game to play at Brookwood. At Brookwood School of Thomasville. And the Warriors held on to defeat the Southland Academy Raiders at home, 29-22 the final score. And quickly some other games of interest to pass along. Terrell Academy over Southwest Georgia Academy, 54-6. Miller County over Sneads, Florida, 35-13. And as I mentioned earlier, American Sumter Panthers over Shaw, 22-7. And on that note, that's going to wrap up yet another edition of the 15-Minute Drill Podcast for Saturday, October 15th, 2016. Almost 25 minutes into it. I'm your host, Walter Johnson. You can follow the Southwest Georgia Network on Twitter at SWJ Network, and on Spreaker at SWJ Network 12345. Thanks for listening. Have a good weekend.